Mountain biking. For me, it's always been more about the mountain than the bike. It's about winding single track, endless mountain vistas, the sounds of birds and the wind in the trees, solitude, and finding myself by getting lost. For me, it's also been about exercise, about fighting back against middle age, belly fat, the boredom of an office job, and even depression. Is there a more perfect intersection of man, machine, and nature? A high-end mountain bike allows you to go faster, farther, and to have more fun, to conquer more difficult terrain, and to grind your way up steeper and longer climbs. Light, strong, capable, and anything but cheap. Mountain bikes are a relatively new invention, pushing the envelope, innovating, and seeing what works. That's how this sport was born, and that's how it has developed. I don't want to go back to an 80s bike, and neither do you. So, what's the next horizon then? So this is brand new territory for me. This is my first electric bicycle. So this is a Specialized Turbo Levo SL Carbon. I'm gonna have a whole series of videos about this machine, how it works, how it charges, what the range is, comparing it to normal mountain bikes. I feel like I'm really crossing over into a whole new frontier here for me, and I just can't tell you how excited I am about this. I've been wanting to get an electric mountain bike for years now, and I finally did it. So here she is. She's beautiful, brand new. I've only ridden it around sort of my driveway here. But today's video is just a first impressions video. It's literally my first ride. I just got geared up here. So my history with mountain bikes, I started mountain biking about, I would say 12 years ago when I moved up here to Idlewild. We have mountains, we have trails, we have single track, tons of riding. And I got into it. I immediately started riding 29ers. I've had a lot of different bikes, but they've all been really high-end bikes. So I've had everything from Niners to Tracks to Cannondale, Specialized, all different mountain bikes. I'm a 29er guy. I typically like a trail bike, like 120 to 150 kind of travel. I'm not like a total gravity rider. I do pedal a lot because I ride road bikes. So I consider myself fairly fit. I used to do endurance racing. I've done 12-hour racing. So I've done some stuff with bikes. So you might be thinking, well, why the hell are you buying an e-bike then? Because that's just cheating. Well, it's not cheating. And we're going to have a whole series of videos on what e-biking is actually about. Now, the Levo SL is not a traditional e-bike. This is a brand new breed of bike. This thing has a much smaller, much lighter motor, a smaller, lighter battery. This bike looks and feels much more like a normal mountain bike that you might be used to if you're a hardcore rider. This bike here weighs just under 40 pounds, maybe 38 to 40 pounds, depending on how you have it set up. Again, this is the carbon model. It's not the Expert, but so this has alloy wheels, not the carbon wheels. Fox 34 rhythm fork, Fox float DPS, Evol rear shock. It's a 150 travel front and back. Basically, it's a Specialized stump jumper with a motor and a battery. So I got the SL because when I demoed the standard Turbo Levo, which is the best-selling and probably best reviewed e-mountain bike out there, I thought, well, this is awesome, this is fun, but do I really need this much power? And I didn't really like the weight. I thought it would be too cumbersome on the trails I like to ride. So living here, we have a lot of tight, technical, twisty single track, and I don't want a 50-pound bike to try to get through the corners and things like that. And I don't need a 4x assist. So standard Levo, 4x assist on turbo mode. Levo SL is 2x your power. I like to pedal, I like to be fit, I like to go up hills. So for me, the SL, when this came out, I started reading more about it. Initially, I thought, I don't know, is that gonna be for me? But the more I read about it, the more amazing reviews I read of it, the more I was convinced that this was for me. So spent some time demoing this bike today at the dealer, and I was so convinced that I brought it home. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to have a ton of videos on mountain biking, but really specifically covering this bike in general. I'm going to have a lot of adventures, a lot of long rides, 20, 30, 40 miles on this thing. I did buy the range extender, which is a battery that goes here in the bottle cage. They didn't have it in stock, so they're actually sending it to me. There's a lot of reasons I got the SL. Weight is probably a big one. Maneuverability on single track. I like how I can, lift this thing up over fences or over cattle gates. I can lift it onto a rack. It's just more like a normal mountain bike. I personally feel that this kind of bike a lower level of assist than a full gas e-bike, but some electric assist, as opposed to just a regular bike, is probably the future. As batteries get better, as motors get better, bikes like this are only going to get more awesome, and they're only going to get more affordable in the future. I know there's a lot of hate towards electric mountain bikes, and I think that hate is really misguided and misplaced, but I do understand where it's coming from. However, I think that a bike like this, which looks and rides and feels more like a normal mountain bike, hardly makes any noise and doesn't really have enough power to totally overwhelm other people on the trail, I think this will receive less hate and maybe bring more acceptance to electric mountain bikes. So I'm going to shut up and start riding this bike, playing with the power modes and seeing how this thing goes. I think it's going to be really addicting, so stay tuned. All right, so getting ready to start out. So to power up one of these turbo Levos, you simply just hit the power button here. Get the LEDs coming on. That's your battery status indicator. You've got 4 modes: off. And by the way, one of the other great things that I love about the SL is that you can pedal it as a normal mountain bike. It's not incredibly heavy and it feels totally natural without the assist. So if you run out of battery or if you just want to pedal it as a normal mountain bike, you absolutely can. So that's off. That is eco mode, that's trail mode, and that's turbo mode. So I have eco set to 30%. I have trail set to 50% and turbo set to 100%. Specialized mission control app, you can control how much each of those modes is. Okay, so we've got the Wahoo going here so we can monitor heart rate. We're going to start out in trail mode. Actually, you know what? We're going to go to turbo mode. So the way this ride's going to start is leaving my house. This is literally my first ride on this bike. I'm not kidding you guys. So we're going to go up my private road, which is like a 20% grade. So really steep climb right off the bat. On a normal mountain bike without assist, you're in your lowest granny gear, just barely getting out this thing. So let's see how we go on this bike, and stay tuned. Oh man, this is awesome. I mean, you still have to really work. Downshift, but the fact that I can talk as I'm going up this is pretty insane. You can hear the motor. It's not too loud. It's louder than the motor on the normal Levo. There's my heart rate going up. Still hard work. Still have to pedal. This is not a shuttle. Got my heart rate up to 156. So now that we're on more of a normal road, we're going to go ahead and put this thing down to trail mode. Okay, so let's head out, find some dirt. Still in the trail mode. Why don't we try eco? Motor gets nice and quiet in eco mode. The awesome thing about a bike like this is that you can dial in how much of a workout you want. Want to work harder? Dial down the boost. Need a break? Turn the boost up. As an athlete, it's nice to be able to not have the terrain dictate your heart rate. Basically, you can change the power assist mode to change how hard you're working. And for an athlete who's training, or just for someone who's trying to manage their weight, that's a huge advantage. Normally, mountain biking, you're just stuck with whatever the trail gives you. Okay, now we're to some dirt, so I'm gonna go back to trail mode and just play around with this thing. Man, the suspension. Really like having this 150 travel. This thing is plush. Okay, there's some things I already noticed about this. Because it's a bit heavier than what I'm used to riding a bike that's around, oh gosh, 28 pounds, pretty light. It kind of just floats through terrain better, has more stability. I mean, if you ride a dirt bike, you know how stable they are through rough terrain. If you ride a mountain bike, you kind of feel kind of flimsy and they kind of fly all over the place. unless you had a downhill bike, which then couldn't pedal uphill. So I think what's happening with e-bikes, especially like this, is that you're starting to get the best of everything. The sport is really evolving to a new level. This thing feels super plush, super confident. I mean, for me, but again, I'm used to 130 travel bikes. This is, I think, is a 66 degree head tube angle. I think on the, I'm used to like 67, 68. I mean, I used to ride a Cannondale Scalpel, which was crazy. It was like 71 degrees, and that thing would just buck you off if you weren't paying attention. So this is awesome so far. Let's go up this rocky hill, see how it does. You still have to shift to an appropriate gear. You can't just be stupid. I mean, again, this is not a shuttle. I've got it in turbo mode. So let's climb up through these rocks. Hopefully not smash my pedals. See, this is already more fun than a normal mountain bike. It just is. I'm sorry. You still get a hell of a workout. My heart rate's 160. This is mountain biking 2.0. I think this is beyond just an evolution. This might be a revolution. And I really am saying that honestly, because I've ridden thousands of miles of mountain bikes through all different kinds of terrain. This changes the game. Something like this is going to allow me to ride faster, further, cover more trail in the time that I have to ride. So get off work, have what, an hour or two or something like that. Cover almost twice as much ground now, have more fun. And I would argue get a better workout. And here's why. I can have more control over my heart rate. Sometimes mountain biking, especially in steep terrain like this, pushes your heart rate so high all the time that you're not getting a very good aerobic workout. You're using your muscle glycogen instead of your cardio system. And you don't get maybe as quality of a training or burn as much fat that way. This changes that. And this will allow you to, descend. I mean, from here, I'm at 6,100 feet here in Pine Cove. I could probably go all the way down to Hemet and climb back up if I had the range extender. So if I start single track here, I can ride a lot of miles on single track, get all the way down to the bottom of the mountain, which is like 2,000 feet elevation down there, and then climb the 4,000 feet back up the fire road or come back up the single track. You're probably not going to do that on a normal mountain bike unless you're like a super fit athlete who's trained. Now you can do it if you just have decent fitness. This is crazy. This is really something else. I'm really just blown away. Yeah, boy. You know what? So far, pretty much feels as maneuverable as the Fuel EX that I've been riding. I like the feeling of trail mode so far. Haven't ridden this trail in like a year. You gotta ratchet your pedals a lot through this terrain. Okay. Oh, haha. Let's try turbo again. Whoops. So pay attention. Don't look at your screen. Turbo's fast. Come on, punch it. Yeah! Woo! Okay, this is mountain biking right here. Yeah. Little viewpoint here. Okay. Oh man. This is why I do it right here. Look at that. You can get out here every day from where I live. I know I'm lucky. This is why I mountain bike. I want more of this in my life. Okay, here's mission control. So you can hit Eco Trail Turbo. Oh, that's not right. Support 5%. I don't know what happened there. We're gonna turn that to 50. Simple app, easy to use. I like it. So we'll go back. Here you can see, you know, okay, we've got 93% battery health, odometer of the bike. You can go through all different things. It works pretty good. We'll do another separate video just on mission control. Now, it's time for Oreos, the fuel of champions. You guys don't know how many rides Oreos have fueled me on, how many races Oreos have fueled me on, so let's go, let's punch it. You know what? Let's try eco mode, see how we do. So in eco mode on the SL, I have it set to 30%. It feels like you're riding a normal mountain bike, but just that you're a little bit more fit. Also, the motor's nice and quiet in this mode, pretty stealthy. This bike just feels so natural already. Specialized really knows what they're doing. If you're a hater, you're missing out. If you haven't tried Levo SL or a bike like this, you're missing out. I'm riding faster, smoother. I'm getting a more even workout. I can ride longer, faster, harder, and have more fun. How could you say that's a bad thing? So a few things I'm noticing as I ride more in single track. First, the maneuverability and the feel is honestly like a normal trail bike. I can't believe they did it. Second, what I like is the motor assist. I can ratchet through really steep stuff or punch up over little things, and my heart rate doesn't go through the roof. So I have more energy left for later. Honestly, I feel like I could ride twice as far. This really doesn't have much compromise, to be honest with you. So I don't know where the hell I am, but I'm gonna keep doing this review. So obviously the weight contributes to the better maneuverability versus the full-size e-bike, but also on the Levo SL versus the Levo, chainstays are shorter. This bike has 435 mil chainstay, which makes it quite a bit more maneuverable than the full fat Levo. I'm just so glad I got the SL, not the regular one. Where the hell am I? Tomorrow, big ride. You see, that's the thing, not just about the excitement of getting a new bike, but with the electric assist bike, you can ride more, ride farther. So tomorrow I'm gonna ride up Thomas Mountain and then descend Ramona Trail, which on a normal bike is a pretty tough ride. It's like a 2,500 foot climb without any brakes, something like that, up the fire road. And then the descent is super fun. This stump jumper, this Levo, I think the geometry and suspension is pretty much perfect for an all-around mountain bike. You know, my idea of a perfect all-around bike keeps changing. You know, 10 years ago, I was riding a 100mm travel, spindly little, you know, at the time probably called I guess it was cross country, but actually I think one of my first bikes was 80mm travel. And that thing, I mean, it was scary on descents. Now you've got these bikes that just soak things up. You still need skill, but speeds go up and it's more fun and you can take on chunkier terrain. So I think that, put it in eco mode here to be quiet. See, the thing with normal mountain bikes has always been, if you want a super light mountain bike, you're going to be compromising on your tires, your rims, your suspension, because the parts that make it really tough and, you know, burly are heavy. And so for climbing, that kind of sucks. With the electric assist like this, you're not as worried about putting on a chunkier tire or a beefier suspension. Those things make mountain biking more fun. And now you don't have to worry about hauling the weight back up the climb as much because you've got an assist. Basically, the more I think about e-bikes, the more they make sense. Okay, so this is where our climb kind of really starts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the shock into climb mode, and I'm going to put the front fork into almost lockout so we can climb better. What I'm going to do is give you a demonstration of the different modes climbing. Now, I'm climbing a fire road that's probably between 5 and 10% gradient. It might have one spot that's like 15-20%. So pretty steep fire road. I'm at 6,000 feet, so it's a pretty tiring ride to get up this on a normal bike, and you have to be pretty fit. So we're going to see how the assist modes do here and give you a demonstration of heart rate and speed. So I'm going to start out in eco mode and make myself work hard. You know what, actually, let's start out no assist. So let's go. Okay, got my seat post all the way up. Now, this feels, I can notice the extra weight over my fuel for sure without the motor on. So right now, pushing pretty hard. Heart rate's probably gonna get up to around 160, 170 doing this. Keep in mind, I'm 35 years old. So you can see I'm struggling to keep up 5 miles an hour. Okay, I can do this, but by the time I get home, I'm gonna be feeling like crap. Heart rate 162. Okay. Whew. I'm in eco mode now. Heart rate dropping back down. I've got eco at, I think, 25%. I'm still going the same speed, same gear, around 4.5, 5 miles an hour. But my heart rate has dropped to around 150 or so, which is a nice higher end aerobic training zone for me. You can see that part up there. That's that really steep part I was talking about. Let's go to trail mode, 50%. Okay, you can really feel the differences between the modes. So I'm cruising up this climb. I'm still working. Heart rate 151. Still working hard, but I can talk. This part is super steep. Gear down a bit here. Normally on my normal bike, I'd be killing myself to get up this. I can do it. Had to keep the front end down. Okay. So my heart's staying below 160. Let's go to 100% mode. Boom. Okay. Now, downshifted, going. Let's see what I can do here. So, still climbing a steep road. Now I'm at 6 to 7 miles an hour. Heart rate still in the mid 150s. But I'm going 7 miles an hour. This is pretty cool. Get a nice breeze. I can outrun the bugs, mosquitoes. See, I don't need more assist than this. I'm flying up this thing. You see what I mean about being able to control how much workout you get? That's why e-bikes are great. They're not just for people who are not fit. These are for serious athletes who want to have a different experience. Let's get home for dinner. running out of light, so I'm going to stop the filming. But if you're a fit mountain biker, fit road cyclist, and you've been hesitating to get into e-bikes, now's the time. I'm telling you, from one rider to another, the wait's over and the future's here. So try these things out, see what you think. Okay, so done with my ride. I did 7.1 miles, so not a huge ride, but I noticed I did 1,100 feet of climbing. Let's go into the mission control here and see what our battery's like. Okay, so I only used 30%. I've got 69% left. So I climbed 1,000 feet with 30% of the battery. So by my math, I should be able to do about 3,000 feet of climbing if I use that rate of battery. So that's pretty awesome. And that's without the range extender. So when I put the range extender on, that gives me another, 1,000 or 2,000 feet. So yeah, that's going to be plenty adequate for my needs. So I am super happy with, so far with the range. For most people, you're not going to have range issues. And even if you do run out of battery, if you're fit enough, you can still pedal this thing up a mountain. It's not that heavy, and it's got the gearing for it. So please do subscribe. Stay tuned, because I'm going to do a bunch of crazy stuff with this bike. I'm going to have a test where I see how far I can climb, and I'm going to purposely run out a battery with the range extender, or with and without the range extender. So we'll see. I've got tons of mountains to climb around here, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again, and if this video was useful for you, please give it a thumbs up, and like I said, please subscribe. Ride safe. See you soon.